Well, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our deeper dive webinar on designing and managing evaluations in Helios. So before we start, we're going to show a funny short video while everyone fills into the virtual webinar space. Enjoy.
So I brought you in to talk about your performance. I'm not happy. Like this right now is just unprofessional. You're a visionary.
I know.
But the 3-hour naps in the middle of the day cannot continue.
I don't take naps.
You don't take naps. Okay, let's talk about your reports. Here is Bill's quarterly. This is what you give me.
That's Mommy.
Let's talk about your lunch break.
Playtime.
You know, a lot of our associates are taking working lunches, try to catch up on workload, and you're off God knows where, doing God knows what. I don't think it's working out. I think we need to say goodbye.
But
No, Penny, we need to part ways at this juncture. You're fired.
please don't fire me.
I'm sorry, Penny. You're fired.
I have to support my mom and dad.
Penny, I don't want to hear about your personal life.
I'm gonna work harder.
You've said this before.
I'm gonna work smarter.
No. Thanks so much for joining the team. Welcome.
All right, evaluations. Well, hopefully yours aren't that awkward, but if they are, they can at least be paperless. So that's at least one better way of doing them. So for those of you who are new here to Helios, Helios is a hire to retire paperless solution that's designed to do everything that K-12 and HR business needs. So part of this includes the online evaluations, which Helios allows administrators to complete evaluations online, electronically sign and submit them. Your employees can see their evaluations from the employee portal and submit comments as well. So you can even build multiple evaluation forms for different employee types. And it also sets out reminders as well as schedules, next evaluations based on different criteria. Now, especially during these times of social distancing, evaluations in Helios is helping save time by working remotely and getting that paperwork done, everything that you need simply online. So it also helps save time and brings in reliability and transparency since you know where all your evaluations are at and can access them from anywhere. So today we're going to take a look at how these evaluations can be easily designed and managed in Helios. We have with us Adam Morello, our tech support manager. Adam has 10 years of experience in technology and education in various roles and has been helping Helios users make the most of their time and solving their challenges. Now, at the end of the webinar, we're going to have a question and answer session, but in the meantime, whatever questions you do have, go ahead and type them into the Zoom questions box on the screen, and we'll be happy to answer them at the end. So without further ado, Adam, please take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
Of course.
Share the screen. Oh, there we go. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today, we're going to do a deeper dive into designing and managing evaluations in Helios. We decided to do this webinar to demonstrate to both our current users and potential users the paperless benefits of using the Helios evaluations module. So in this webinar today, we're going to cover creating, duplicating, editing, and reviewing evaluations, as well as how to kick off and manage the associated evaluations in the Helios dashboard. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is want to navigate over here to the admin tab, and then we're going to come down to the evaluation designer. So Helios has a comprehensive and flexible electronic evaluation solution, which allows us to manage the evaluation process from start to finish, all in Helios, all completely paperless. The first thing we need to do is create a new evaluation, but before we do that, let's go over all the components of this screen. So the first thing I want to talk about is this right here. This is our menu, and this contains all the current evaluations configured in your Helios environment. It contains the name of the evaluation, here as the evaluation type. And then it also has this employee access column, which we will get to here in just a moment. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add a new evaluation. So we're going to click this add new button. And what this does is it clears out all of these fields over here, so you know that you're not editing a current evaluation. So now that we clicked add new, we need to put in the evaluation type. And today we're going to be doing a student teacher evaluation. There we go. Cool. So this is the name of the evaluation. Okay, so you're going to see this name once we hit save. It's going to populate over here, and then this name is going to be reused throughout Helios. So make sure you pick a meaningful name for your evaluation type so you can recognize it, so you know you're selecting the correct evaluation. So the next thing we want to look at here is the employee access. With the employee access checkbox, you can make this form available, or this evaluation available to employees through the employee self-service portal. So depending on your district specific processes, you may or may not want the employee to have the ability to kick off their own evaluation, but this could be used if, say, you're doing like a self-review type of evaluation for an employee. That might be something that you'd want employee access for, so that they can kick that off themselves. But for today, we are doing student teacher evaluation, so we're going to leave that unchecked and not have employee access. The next one is employee type. So if we click this drop down, we can see that this has all the employee types that we have configured in our Helios environment. We're going to pick certificated today. But if we were to pick no employee type, that means that this evaluation can be used by any employee of any type. And when we click and we decide to select one of these employee types, now it's going to be limited to that employee type for this specific evaluation. And today we're going to do certificated. So let's click that. The next one is the overall rating checkbox, and that's right here. So let's take a look at what this overall rating checkbox corresponds to. So I'm going to jump over here to evaluation I have open. If we come down here, we can see right here, this overall evaluation, that's what this checkbox is referring to. So if we were to click this, it's going to hide that overall rating. And if we leave it unchecked, then it's going to show the overall rating. So it really depends on what your process is. If you only want individual standards, then you can check this box and it'll hide that overall rating on your evaluation template, but it's really up to you and your process. So today we don't want to hide the overall rating, so we're going to leave that unchecked. So lastly, we have this enabled box. This enable checkbox. And what this checkbox does is it makes the evaluation available for use if checked and unavailable for use if unchecked in the evaluation dashboard. This is a really nice feature because there's a good possibility when adding a new evaluation, other staff within your district could be currently using the evaluation module. And while leaving this box unchecked, you can safely work on adding a new evaluation without the possibility of another staff member accidentally kicking it off before it's completed. So I know nobody is in our environment working, so I'm going to leave this checked and enabled. And I think that's it for this screen, so let's click Save. Okay, so now that this is saved, you can see that we have a few new buttons here. The first button is Design Evaluation, which takes us to the Evaluation Designer screen so that we can start building our evaluation. The next button here is Duplicate this evaluation, which can be used to create a copy of the selected evaluation. So this is useful if you have very similar evaluations you're creating, and one can be duplicated and then edited rather than creating the whole evaluation from scratch. So if I click this here, you can see we got a copy that got added down here, okay? And then the last button is delete. So if I click on this and then I click delete here, it's gonna ask me if I'm okay. I'm gonna say yes, and now I deleted that. So those are what these three buttons are. So let's get into designing our evaluation. Let's get started. So let's click Design Evaluation. Okay, so here's our evaluation screen. So up at the top of the screen, you're going to see three buttons here. We have Add Field, Add Standards, and Add Ranks. And these buttons are, that's what we're going to use to develop our evaluations. But before we start creating our evaluation here, let's take a look at what these buttons actually create and what it will look like. So let's jump back over to our evaluation. Okay. So the first one is the standards. So these first fields, these are our standards here, and they're the driving force of your evaluation. So they're basically the criteria that the evaluator will use to evaluate the employee. So you can see we have all of these options right here, and these are what these are our configured standards for this specific evaluation. The next thing will be the ranks. And if you look over here, you can see we have unsatisfactory, occasionally meets standards, regularly meets standards, and exceeds standards. And you can see that we have these radio buttons here. And so these are your ranks. So this section here are the ranks. Okay. And lastly, we have the fields. So these provide a larger range of flexibility when creating your evaluation. And in just a moment, we'll take a deeper look at what those are. But everything else that isn't a standard or a rank is going to be a field. So right here, you can see this comment box is a field. These radio buttons are a field here, and this comment box is a field as well. But we're going to get to developing our own here soon. So let's actually do that now. Let's go back to the evaluation designer. Okay, and let's start developing our evaluation. So the first thing, what I like to start with is adding my ranks. And like I said before, these are the values that we grade a specific standard on. So let's open this, we'll click Add Ranks. So as you can see, this is very simple and straightforward when you're adding your ranks. You simply just type them in and you add them, okay? So for this example, I'm going to add unsatisfactory. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm going to add unsatisfactory, occasionally meets standards, regularly meets standards, exceeds standards, and satisfactory. So let's get these in here now. I'm going to add, and as you see, it adds it in here, and then it adds it in over there. Okay, just a few more. Okay, and then we need to exceed standards. And the last one is satisfactory. There we go, add. Okay, so now we have all of our 5 ranks in here. Now we can click close and everything is good to go. But then say we didn't like this order. If we wanted to reorder them, it's easy as dragging and dropping, okay? And then say you didn't need one, which actually I don't technically need satisfactory. You easily just click this minus button. It's gonna ask you, are you sure you want to delete this rank? You say okay, and that's it. That's all you have to do for the ranks. It's very easy, okay? So let's close this out and let's move on to our standards. So let's click this. So the add standard functionality is very straightforward as well. We have the ability to add the standard in this main text box here. But then we also can make the choice if we want to hide the rank or not. And this is exactly what we're going to do for this first standard. So when you click hide the rank, the first one is going to be more of a header category. And so you're not going to have the ability to give a ranking on it. So you're not going to be able to click a radio button associated. So let's do that now and I'll show you what that looks like. Student learning is our section. And we're going to hide the rank. Add and close. So you can see this is in bold, and then we don't have any radio buttons under here. Okay, so let's go forward and add the rest of our standards. So I'm going to copy and paste just for ease, save some time. Do this, and we want to leave our rank available. So add and close, and now you can see we have radio buttons here. Okay, and it's really as easy as this. So you're probably going to have, you know, your current evaluation in a Word doc, or I don't know, it depends on how your district does things, but you'll basically just be converting it into the paperless format, just like this, copy and pasting it in. So just a few more here, bear with me. And then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, and last one is the overall student learning. Perfect. Okay, so that's all of our standards. Okay, perfect. That's all we need to do for that. So one more thing down. And we're nearly complete with this evaluation, but we have one more thing to do, and we need to add fields. We need to add a few more extra things on here so that we can have our evaluation complete. So let's open up this add field button here, and it's going to open up this menu. So let's go over what we're seeing here. So the first one is your field type. These are all of your options. You can add a checkbox, a date, a drop down, a label. So here are all your field types that you can choose from. We have the field name. This is what the name of the field is going to be. You can decide if whether that field has to be required. So if they can't move forward unless that field has to be filled out, you can check this box here. You can obviously enable it or disable it. We have it as a header only, a read only. We have our width and our height, which you really don't need to fill out because you can drag and drop on the screen itself, so you can make the you can design the height. But if you ever wanted to set two fields of exactly the same height, this is where you would do that. We have our group name, which is attributed to radio buttons, and then same as the repeat direction. We'll get to that in a second when we add a radio button. But then down here, you see there's a few different ones, and these are more specific to the evaluation. So you have link to standard, okay, which when you check this, it's going to link this field to the standard directly above it, and I'll show you that in a second. But if we click this, then you also see show if. So you can see here are our ranks. So you can have a field that is connected directly to the ranks, and we're going to do that as well. So I'll show you that in a second. This last one is show after overall evaluation. So on the previous screen, you know how we had the decision to if we want to hide the overall evaluation or not. If you keep your overall evaluation and you want to put a field underneath it on the displayed evaluation, then this is the box that you're going to want to check. Okay, and we're going to do that as well. So we'll show you that in a second. Now we have list table here. So if you need a drop down and say you wanted to have them select all of the locations that you have currently configured in Helios, you can always use this list table, and then you select location drop down, and then all your configured locations are going to get pulled into that field. So that is a nice option as well. We have list query here, which is used by our technical team, so I would recommend not using that. And then lastly, we have pre-fill with. So if you have a field, say address, that you need to be displayed on your evaluation, but you know we already have that information for this employee gathered in Helios, you can always pre-fill a field with what they already have stored in Helios for that specific employee. So that's what pre-fill with does. So now that we've gone over what all the options that we can do with this, let's add some fields. And so the first one we want to do is we want to include a comment. So we're going to add a multi-text field. And we're going to name this student learning comments. There it is, student learning comments. Okay, and we want to link this to the standard. Okay, so we're going to click this. And this one we want to always show. So we're going to add and close. And you can see, so now this field is linked to this standard here. Okay, and we're going to do another one. So let's add another field. And this one is going to be overall commendations and recommendations. It's going to be another multi-text. Overall commendations and recommendations. There we go. Okay, and we're going to link to this standard. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. My bad. This is not going to be this one. This is going to be explanation for unsatisfactory. Sorry about that. Okay, we're going to link this to standard. So this one's also going to be linked to this overall student learning standard, but we're only going to show it if they get an unsatisfactory mark there. Okay, so that's how that works. And we'll show you the functionality here in a second. So let's add and close this. So this one right here, this field will only display when this standard gets this rating. Okay, so that's how that works. And I'll show you that once we finish adding these next two fields. So now we want to add the field that I was accidentally trying to add earlier, which is the overall commendations and recommendations. It's going to be another multi-text. Overall commendations and recommendations. And because this is overall, this is the sum of everything, we want this to appear after the overall evaluation. So that's where we're going to click this. Okay, and that's where we check this box. I'm going to add and close that. Perfect. And then we have one more to add. And this one is going to be recommendation for PAR. So we are going to make this a radio button. Okay. We're going to name this recommendation for PAR, yes or no. Perfect. We want this to show after the overall evaluation. And then here's our drop-down list. So you see when I select a radio button, we got this new field. And this lets you put all of the radio button options together. So I'll show you what I mean here. We're going to add this. And then we're also going to put no in there. So that's giving us all of our radio button options right here. So add options to drop down list that's used for radio buttons. And then we're going to add and close this. So before we move on to take a look at exactly what our evaluation looks like, there's a few other things we want to go over on this screen. And the first one is if you, say for some reason you wanted to duplicate a field. okay? And it's very easy. So I have the student learning comment. Say I wanted to create another comment just like it. I right click, and then I can easily duplicate the field from here, okay? And then it shows up down at the bottom. Now, if you wanted to edit this field now, you right click, you click edit the field, okay? And then you can come in here and make your adjustments. And then when you're done, add and close. Okay, and if you wanted to do the same thing with a standard, it's a little bit different. We have these plus signs, so this is how we duplicate a standard. As you can see, it shows up down here. And then to edit one, you hit this magnifying glass, and then you can make any of your adjustments that way. If you want to reorder, it's easy as dragging and dropping. Okay, that's how things are reordered here. And then if you want to delete, you simply hit the minus sign. And it asks you, are you sure you want to? Say yes, delete these. Okay, so and that's it. We successfully created an evaluation. Had a little hiccup there, but we fixed it. So let's take a quick peek at what this evaluation is going to look like. And how we do that is we use this preview button. So let's do that now. Okay, so here is our evaluation that we created. So you can see that we have all of our standards here. We have all of our ranks over here. Here is our radio button. Here's our overall recommendations, commendations. Here's our overall evaluation, our rating here. And then here, let's check this out. So we have our overall student learning. We have this unsatisfactory. Let's click this, and you can see now this pops up. Okay, and that's exactly how we wanted that to work. And if we click off of it, perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Now, depending on your district-specific needs, the amount of time it takes to set up all of your evaluations will differ. But I just wanted to get one set up just to kind of show you what the feeling was of how to create one. And then I wanted to show you how we can use this new evaluation in Helios. So let's go over that right now. We're going to go back to our evaluation settings. Okay. And we're going to show you how to manage these. And where we do that is we do that in the evaluations dashboard. And it's as easy as clicking this link here, and this is going to take us to the evaluations dashboard. Okay, so here we are. This is like the main hub for evaluations in Helios. So let's go over this main list, okay? And this is where you're going to see all of your current evaluations, any of your evaluations that are currently going on in Helios. This is where they're going to show up. We have these two columns here. I'll get back to those in a second. So we have the evaluation number here, the employee name, the job class, the location, the evaluation type. So this is those evaluation types that we were looking at on the other screen in the designer. Here are the names of all the evaluations, and that's going to show up here. We have the date of the evaluation. We have whether it's completed or not. We have the supervisor, the evaluator, we have the title, we have the overall rating. So you can see this one down here exemplifies or exceeds the objective. So you can kind of get a quick understanding of how the evaluations are going by that. We have our signed by, assigned to. So you can see who signed it, who's it assigned to, who's the evaluator. And then you have the employee signed, you have this column. So you can see when the employee actually signed the evaluation. So we also have this delete over here, and this is used for deleting duplicates. So once you delete, it's gone. Okay, so normally the only time that you want to delete it is like maybe if you had an evaluation get kicked off twice, like maybe two admin kicked off the same evaluation twice and you have it sitting there and you're like, okay, I don't need this one, then I would go ahead and delete it. But be very careful because once you delete it, it's gone. So let's scroll down a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about this select column here. So you can see we have all these check boxes. If we come down, you see we have these three buttons down here. Okay, we have mark selected evals as complete, unlock selected evals, and assign selected evals. So the first one is mark selected evals as complete, and you use this, you use this on evaluations that are past time or have been sitting in your list too long, and you don't need them to be there anymore. So this can be used to kind of clear them out. You kind of just mass mark a lot of them as completed, just so that they're not showing up in your pending evaluations list. Okay. The next one is unlock selected evals. So once once an eval is set to complete, it can no longer be edited. Okay. So if you wanted to bring some back to be edited or reviewed, you can use this feature. Okay. And then that's when maybe the evaluator can get back in there, say they needed to, say they're like, hey, something was wrong with all my evals. So you want to mass select quite a few of these to unlock them so they can go back in and then they can complete them again themselves. That's when you'd want to use this button. It's unlock selected evals. And the last one is assign selected evals. So if we click a few of these, then we click assign selected evals, you'll see this will pop up. And this is how we mass assign an evaluator to a lot of evaluations. Okay, and that's what that button does. So those are pretty much all of the columns. So let's go over the filters, which is a very important piece too. So up here we can see this is where our filters live. So you can see we have pending, we have all, we have complete, and when we change this, it's going to change this list down here. So if I click all, the list updates and you can see now we have some completed ones, we have ones that aren't completed. It's pulling in all of the evaluations we have configured in our environment. If you want to see only the complete ones, we will click this, it re-updates the list, and now we can see all of our evaluations. We're only getting the complete ones here. Now, say we wanted to sort on evaluation type. Here's that list from the evaluation designer that I was talking about earlier, so that's why it's important to pick a meaningful name so you know exactly which evaluation you're selecting. But you can filter on that. You can search for evaluation. We can search by first name, last name, or we can search by the evaluation number here. And then also, if you wanted to filter by a little bit more, we also have the ability to filter by job class or location. So maybe you only want to see the evaluations for one site at a time. You know, this is how you would limit your list down here to only display for that location. Okay, so now that we went over the filters, let's go over to the metrics. So here we have a few metrics. We have total evaluations, we have in progress. Total evaluations, it's all evaluations completed and not completed. In progress is, you know, those are the ones that are still being worked on. We have our completed ones. We have the need signature by employees here. This is the number of evaluations already submitted by the evaluator but have not been signed by the employee. So now, depending on your district's individual process, some may need to have the employee go in and sign their evaluations and some may not. So, but this is here regardless. It's here for everybody to see that, you know, if you do so need to know this information, it's available here in your metrics. And lastly, we have evaluations due this year, and this will tell us who's due for evaluation. And I'll get into that a little bit deeper here in a second. But before we do that, you can see most of these metrics have blue links associated with them. Okay, all of them except for need signature by employee, they all have these blue links. And so when you click on one of these, they actually refresh the grid down here as well. So let's click on total evaluations. And you can see this over here is now checked to all. So now here's all of our evaluations. If we go to in progress, it's going to correspond to pending. If we go to complete, it's going to be our completed evaluations. Okay, so that's what these do. So these metrics are giving you like a tally, but then they also can help you filter the list down here as well. I'm going to come back here. I just want to kind of show you guys exactly how to let's do an evaluation, see what that looks like from an admin standpoint. So let's go to pending and let's pull up an evaluation. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I have one that I want to work on. Let's go to 2869. Okay, here's the evaluation we'll work on. So if you want to work on an evaluation, it's easy as clicking this link over here. Okay, and when you're in a pending evaluation, one that's not completed, this is going to say do evaluation. Okay, so let's open one up and see what this looks like. So you can see we actually, Brian here, the evaluator, already had some of this evaluation filled out. Okay, they have this information, he has some notes. If we keep scrolling down, we're going to see about here, there's no more information. Okay, so what it looks like is Brian was working on the evaluation and he got caught up doing something else. You know, he didn't have enough time to complete it all at once, and that's what he probably used and what he did use this save button as. Okay, so if you're working on an evaluation but you haven't completed it, it hasn't been finalized, you want to keep working on it later, you're going to use this save button down here. Okay, now once you are done with the evaluation, you filled out all the fields, you're completely satisfied with it, you want to sign and submit. And once you sign and submit, that means that you're not going to be allowed to edit it anymore. That kind of goes back to those buttons, mark as completed and unlock. So if you have an employee that signed and submitted an evaluation but actually needs to work on it again, it needs to be unlocked by an admin to do that. But that's how easy it is to create an evaluation, to do an evaluation. You know, once they're created in Helios, you just come through and you make your evaluations, you make your notes, make your comments, and you're good to go. Okay, so that's doing evaluations. So let's close out of this. The next thing I want to show is what it's like to view an evaluation, an already completed evaluation. So let's come over here to completed, and then we want to search for 2836. 2836. Okay. Search. There's our evaluation. So you can see now this column doesn't say do evaluation anymore. It says view evaluation. That's how you know if it's completed. Okay. I mean, you have this checkbox here, but if you see view, you know it's already done and it's submitted. So let's go in here. And it's going to pull it up as a report. It pulls it up in a very easy to read format, and this is for if you need to share the evaluation with somebody. You know, if you need to send it off to somebody or whatever your process may be, this allows you some more flexibility to actually, save this to your hard drive. So you can see it's formatted a little bit different, okay? But if it has all of the same information, you can see here's the sign dates, here's the employee signature. But what I really want to talk about is how to save this, and you're going to want to use this button here. So if we click this, you can see you can save it to Excel, PDF, or Word. I would recommend if you're a current user, play around with this, see which application you like to display your evaluations in the most, and then go with that. But we do offer all of these three options. And then if you wanted to just send it directly to the printer from this page, you can use this print button here as well. Okay. So now that we showed you how to do an evaluation, how to view an evaluation, let's start an evaluation, okay? Let's kick off the one that we created. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this start button here. Okay, and this pops up this window. So the first is the evaluation type, okay? And this is where we can select the evaluation we just created. So this list here corresponds with that table again, okay? That's why I always say meaningful name, okay? We want to do a student teacher one. Now here you can search for an employee. You can really type in anything, and then you can see they'll pop up. So it's a look ahead. We'll just do Amy Smith for now. Okay, here's your evaluation date. You can select which date you want the evaluation to be done on. And then you have your sign evaluator. So we click on this. This is a drop down, and all of these evaluators are corresponding to your user access. So if somebody is going to be an evaluator in your Helios environment, they need to be added to user access. So if we look at this list and then we just jump over here real quick, you can see that these are the same, okay? This is our list. So if you need someone to be evaluator, they have to be added into user access, and that's done going admin to the user access screen, okay? Let's jump back over here. So then we have, once we could assign evaluator, we can just assign myself. We can either save the evaluation, okay, which is just going to save it, and it's going to just put it into our list, and then we can come back at a later time to do it. Or we can click the save and start evaluation, which is then going to it's going to save it, put it in the list, and then it's going to bring up the evaluation so we can start completing it right then and there. And that's what those options are. So let's close this out. And then now let's come back to look at these check evaluations due and this evaluations due next year. Let's look at these. So let me clear these out real quick because this is affected by that. Search that. Okay, cool. So let's click on one of these, and they both do the same thing. So if I click on this one, it brings up this list. And if I click on this link here, it brings up the exact same list. Okay. So what this is doing is this is bringing up the list of employees needing evaluations. At the bottom of the screen, you can see you have this button here that says Start Evaluations. Sorry, it's a little hard to see, but it's right here. It says Start Evaluations. By checking all of the appropriate employees, the evaluator can kick off multiple evaluations at one time, which can be a real time saver if you're someone who conducts many evaluations throughout the year. So you can search by your site, you can say who's due for an evaluation, then you can click them all off, and then you can click this Start Evaluations button down here. Okay, so if I click on this, oops, I'm sorry. If I click the Start Evaluations, it pulls up a very similar screen to the other Start Evaluations. It's just missing the one field because we already know which employees we're selecting, but it's the same thing. You can select your evaluation type, your evaluation date, and then assign your evaluator. Okay, I forgot to mention though, if you don't pick an evaluator, okay, and you just leave this blank, then that means anybody who has access to do evaluations in your in Helios, whoever's configured to do that, is going to be able to do the evaluation. So I recommend, based off of your process, making sure you assign an evaluator, or else somebody else will be able to get in there and do the evaluations, as long as they have the user access set up for that. So I guess that's a secondary safeguard. Okay, so let's close this out. And, you know, let's think about this. So how does an employee actually show up on this list? Okay, and well, that is driven by the employee's job history screen. And that's what I want to show you guys next, because that's a very important part of evaluations. So let's search for an employee. Go. Okay, and we're going to navigate over here to our job history screen. So if we scroll down towards the bottom, we'll see two fields. Okay, here they are. We have last evaluation date and next evaluation date. Okay, these two fields are located on the job history screen because some employees may have multiple positions within the district and therefore may require multiple evaluations at different times during the year. So as long as we manage these fields for the actual job for the employee, when it comes time for their next evaluation date, they're going to be populated in the evaluations due this year list, but it is year-based, okay? So the school year goes from July 1st to June 30th, depending, you know, how it's configured, and this is going to go based off of the year as well, okay? So one other thing I wanted to show you guys, actually I have a few more things, but the next thing I wanted to show you guys was the employee portal. So I wanted to show you what evaluations look like when an employee is kicking it off, or when an employee wants to go in and sign their evaluation that that was conducted on them. So let's log out. We're going to log in as an employee. Okay. So in order for them to get their evaluations, they come over here to the menu and then they click evaluations. And now here they can see all of these are evaluation self-reviews. They can see all of these ones that they've done. And then you can also see all of these evaluation employee comments. So these are the ones that they can enter comments in on. So let's actually do that right now. So we're going to pick this evaluation. Okay. You'll see the evaluation will load up here, and then that's where they can view it. It takes a little bit of time. But then if we scroll down, we can see enter in employee comments here if you wish. Okay, so let's say, I'm gonna say it's a great evaluation. So we'll just say, thank you. Okay, and then I wish to submit a rebuttal for this evaluation. You can click this checkbox and then a rebuttal shows up here. And I know this doesn't make any sense, but I'm just gonna say, you are the best. Okay. So now that this loaded, if we scroll down, we can see this is the evaluation. We can see what my overall rating is. We can come down to here. We can see that I have not signed this. This is the employee I logged in as, Amy Smith. I have not signed it yet. And then you can see right here, employee comments and employee rebuttal. Okay, you can see there's nothing in here. That's what these fields are corresponding to. Okay, so let's sign and save. Okay, now this takes a long time. So I actually have one brought up over here. So you can see, here you go. Here's our employee comments. It'll say thank you, and then our employee rebuttal will say you are the best, and then you can see when it was signed by the employee. Okay, so that's the information that gets filled out when an employee signs it. So it's very straightforward for an employee to go in, review their evaluation, see what everything is there. It's all done paperlessly, and then they can you know, give their rebuttal or their comments on the evaluation, all done with no contact, okay, which is a big thing right now. So it's a nice feature to have, is the evaluations. So that's all I wanted to show you for that. So we have one more thing. I need to log out and get back into the admin. Oops. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about today is reports. Okay, so Helios has a lot of reporting options, and today we're going to go over what reports we have already built in to Helios for the evaluations module. But if you have any questions on how to build your own reports and you want to learn more about that, we actually did another deeper dive on that topic, and it has a lot of great information on how to develop your own reports. But for today, we're just going to look at what's already exists in Helios, and these are given to all the customers. They're canned reports, so what we'll do, we'll search evaluations. Here we go. Okay, so now we have all of our evaluation reports here. And the first one I want to talk about is the evaluation monitoring. So let's click on this. Let's run this report. So this report is good for monitoring the overall evaluation process. It'll basically tell you who has been evaluated and who has not been evaluated, among other things. So now that this loaded, you can see there's a lot of great information in here, but it's basically going to tell you, you know, who is evaluated, the time, the sign date, who the evaluator was, just a lot of great information in here. And this is just one of the reports that Helios offers. Let's close this one out. And then another cool one is this evaluation summary dash generic. Okay, so let's open this one. And this report is good for providing you with the numbers, you know, looking at the aggregates to determine who is doing well and who is not. And this is a great report if you're trying to determine areas for professional development or training, because this is going to show you how many people got which rating. So now that this loaded, you can see here is one of our standards. And you see a 4 here, so 4 people got meets objective, 8 people got exemplifies and exceeds objective. Okay, so we can go through and we can actually see who is getting what and what the tallies are, what the aggregates are. Okay, and as you can see, there's a few more reports in here. We're not going to get into that today, but that's actually all I wanted to show you guys today. So we accomplished a lot. We created a new evaluation. We went step by step through all of the components of doing an evaluation in Helios. With evaluations, though, the real benefit comes when utilizing them within your district. That's where the real time is saved, because we turn a very tedious paper-oriented process into an entirely paperless one that can be easily maintained and managed all in Helios. So that concludes my webinar for the day. Thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you found this informative, and thanks, Jim. I'm going to turn it back to you for Q&A.
Right. Very, very, very cool, Adam. Definitely a rock star when it comes to showcasing everything within Helios, and the same goes for evaluations here for sure. So you made it look really easy. Thank you for sharing. I know that there's a lot of folks who really appreciate being able to see that and learning how to best maneuver within Helios, doing these evaluations like this, making the most of their time, and ultimately doing it as safe as they can. So again, Adam, thank you so much. And if you're watching this today and you're in HR and business, you know that there's a lot that goes into your processes, as you can see here by our paperless employee life cycle. So visit heliosed.com and you can see everything that Helios does for K-12 HR and business paperless, and we can save you up to 73% of your time. You can take a look here at all the different modules we offer, read stories from our partners, and connect with us. We have a brand new tool, a savings calculator. If you are new to paperless, you absolutely want to take 2 minutes, even less than 2 minutes, and fill this out. So when you click savings calculator, that'll bring us here to this page. Really just a few simple questions, and that when you answer it, it will generate for you a report. And this is based off of a school that has 500 employees. And if they're going to be shifting all their paper-based processes to paperless, they can expect to save that amount of money, that amount of time per year compared to paper-based operations. So absolutely visit heliosed.com, fill that out. We just wrote a blog post all about that, so you can see that here as well. And a new blog post regarding our previous webinar where we're recapping our funding for charters in COVID, oh my, webinar. So if you're a charter school, you absolutely want to check this out. And we have a brand new Helios app. So for those of you folks that are interested in checking this out, please email me, jim@heliosed.com, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. You can download the app here at the App Store or on Google Play, and you can visit right here, heliosed.com/app, and you can check out a cool video showcasing footage from that app. And of course, whatever questions you folks have, please email me and Adam, and we will be happy to assist you folks. And at this time, we will get into our Q&A. So I have just a couple questions here, Adam. My first question is there a limit to how many evaluations I can set up?
No, absolutely not. You know, all districts are different, you know, and everybody has different specifications and different amount of evaluations that they need to conduct at their district. So Helios does not limit how many evaluations you can create. So no, absolutely not.
Okay, Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Adam. So another question here. Does Helios do single sign-on?
Yes, it does for Google and Microsoft. So yeah, so both Office 365 and Google. Yeah, we do that. Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. But it's really good and no need of ever being worried about forgetting your password. So
Right.
yeah. Another question here: can multiple reminders be set up for multiple people?
Yeah. So for evaluations, yes. The best way to probably do that is through the schedule task option in Helios, and you can set that up. Check to see if the evaluation has been done, or check to see if one is past its date. And absolutely, you can set that up in Helios using our schedule task feature.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, if there's no more questions, thank you all for attending here today. And Adam, thank you so much for showing us everything here within evaluations. For everyone here in attendance, please stay connected with us by visiting heliosed.com. Check out our website and use our new savings calculator just to see how much you can save by shifting your current processes to paperless. And again, please let us know if there's anything else that we can do to help, and we look forward to serving and connecting with you all again soon. So bye, and Adam, thanks again.
Bye, everyone.
Bye all.